Sorry about the late start, but welcome to our first Alkali Beauty Alka Live event. My name is Nicole George. I am your Director of Digital Education, and I am super excited to be hosting this class today. Before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that from now until March 31st, you will receive 55% off, $50 or more on your purchases from alkalibeauty.com. You just have to use the code ALKALIVE, all one word, in all caps. Also, you are all automatically entered into our raffle. Today's raffle drawing is for the Alkali and Shark Fin shear set. Danielle will be going live at the end of our event to announce the winner. Also, Dre, congratulations on your blonding kit from yesterday. So we're going to turn this over to the fabulous Dre, who's going to show us her balayage techniques. Are you all set, babe?
Yes, I'm ready to go.
All right.
Yes. I'm Dre behind the hair, also Dre, you know me as. I'm a stylist here at Alkali Salon in California. I'm also part of the Alkamob, and I came across this salon about 2.5 years ago. So initially I came across the product line, which I fell in love with, and I was renting a chair in another salon, and I started purchasing the product. And then I realized I thought that they had a salon in New York and also in California, but it turns out that they only had one here, but they were just, their product line was very well known everywhere, that it seemed like every salon had it. I was like, is that an Alkali salon? Is that an Alkali salon? So then long story short, I ended up taking a trip, and it kind of made me realize in life that things just happen, and I had to kind of make a move on it. So I started Googling the salons, and I actually came across finally Alkali Salon here, and I spoke with Michelle, and she was off the bat just so super welcoming. If you know Michelle, you already know how she is. She is just like, yes, of course, come, we would love to have you. Yes. And it was just so nice, especially in California. Everybody's so friendly here, but especially just to have that warm welcoming from the salon, and to see that the way they are on Instagram and on social media is how they are in real life. Same thing with you girls. They're just awesome, supportive, the whole Alkamob, the tribe, amazing. But yeah, that was about 2.5 years ago. And then I just started coming here every couple of months, at a time, taking clients. Michelle always made sure that I had my clients in my book. She told me do this, do that, tag them, post on Yelp, just all around super supportive. And then next thing you know, a year ago, actually during COVID, I finally decided to make the move to come here to the salon. What a crazy time, because us California, we out of all the industry, I mean, we were closed down for the most amount of time. So it was really hard, but Michelle too, she just made sure that everything was she was just very supportive through it all. So anyway, here I am, and I'm going to teach you a California pretty much balayage, that sun kiss, bright money piece in the front, little dimension going on, the blend on the sides. And doing this whole application literally took me 30 minutes, and it makes it look like a full-on, it is a full balayage, but it's just the way you apply it and the way you use the heat of the person's head, and all of it's kind of like a science thing, but I will definitely get in depth into that. But prior to even foiling the hair, I use the Unicorn Milk Alkali Beauty Unicorn Milk, and this I spray all over just to help to even out all of the porosity, so everything is processing and feeling the same. So, and it also has a protectant in there. So it prevents anything just having that extra protection is always necessary when you're using lightener. When I do mix the lightener, so yes, I prep the hair. And then when I do mix the lightener, I just want to tell you quickly, I use 1 ounce of lightener to 1.5 ounces of oil-based developer. It's very crucial. You can either use oil-based developer, or you can use the VIP serum. Yes, this is really good because the VIP serum actually maintains the moisture, and it allows it to have an even lift, and that's what you want, especially when you're going for those bright money pieces and the bright dimension throughout. That's what girls want. They want the honey blondes, they want the champagne blondes, they want the ash blondes. So you need to make sure that within one sitting, when you're applying this lightener, that you know for a fact that it's going to be able to sit and lift evenly. And I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek, hold on now, of what I did.
Boy.
Yeah.
Now, how long has this been sitting?
Okay, this has been sitting about half an hour. Yep, half an hour now. So it's still not processed, but you can see, and this is also hair, but you can see how blonde. Can you see? No, not really. Hold on. I got you. How blonde it does get. And like I said, this is mannequin hair.
Oh, wow. Look at that already.
Yeah, a little bit, right? Okay, good. So you see that there's also a blend of like synthetic and blonde and real human hair. So that's why after, fret not, I will post the picture so you can see that bright money piece. But I just wanted to show you even quickly how nicely it does develop, and how having like the VIP serum or an oil-based developer inside of there is going to create an even lift. So, and it stays like moisturized, which is what you want when you're lifting higher. So as far as like ratio and products used for the lightener, that's what I do. And then with the sectioning, so that's one of the main, and then with 20 volume, I'm so sorry, I didn't even tell you, 20 volume all the way. And then at the last, I do 25. So when I do this balayage technique, this is the front of her face right here. This is the front here. And then this is her back. I start at the nape, and I'm taking sections that are like V. So they're going into a V like this at the neck, because that's where you want to focus. So when they do pull their hair back, it looks very natural and seamless on both sides. So then I do V, V, and then at the top here, I just do like horizontal section going like this, and then I'm painting it. And I am going to show you guys too how I do paint it, but I just want to tell you exactly how to section it. This is why it only takes me half an hour, but it makes it look like it's a full-on head. So when you see all of those balayages that I post, they literally are in and out of the door in 2.5 hours. And that's with a toner, a haircut, and a style. So it's really good, especially with long hair too. Timing wise, you just want to make sure that your clients aren't like in here forever, and people have stuff to do too. But anyway.
Great. So it's more about the positioning of your foil work to make it look like a full head.
Yes, exactly. And then same thing, like when you do the foils, I don't even put my clients underneath heat, because the way I do it, it uses the heat from the head, which is really important, because it helps you tone lift everything evenly. Like, I can't even explain it to you. It just lifts everything evenly. So after I do the back, I start here in the front, and I have my client face me, and then I start. And the reason why I have her foils also like this is because I want to show you guys that it's almost like they're all falling onto each other like pages of a book. So one foil in the front is the closest to her forehead and like in through here for the money piece. And the ones after that are going kind of like a little bit further down. So that thing goes back. You have your highest point right here, which is the money piece, which is what you want. And then you have your lowest point. So the foils so initially you're applying the lightener lower and lower and lower on the hair shaft every section you go through to the back, because that way it's almost creates a cascading effect. So when it grows out, it doesn't grow out horizontally like this. It grows out like this. So it's better for the eye to travel, because there's nothing worse is like 6 months later when you see your client, you're like, oh my God, like you just see the line kind of growing out from the balayage. It's only because of the way our eyes travel. So that's why I like to do it this way. So yes, I start in the front. So then by the time I get to the back, the front foil has already been finished. And then I already know that the money piece is going to be perfect. And then the back, all of those are heating up now from these foils. Then I move to the side, and by the time I get to the sides, I do 25 volume. And now I am going to show you how I do that. So the sides as well. The sides I also I am doing them like horizontal sections. So they're kind of going, actually no, vertical. Well, they're going forward. So if you're taking one like on the side of their face, so everything, you're taking a section there about 1 inch, and then same thing in the behind it, and you're leaving that out. And then you're gonna do one more. And take a little bit more. And then you're gonna kind of do like a weave like this, and you're weaving it out, and you're leaving this out. Then you definitely tease. You have to tease because that creates the diffusion from the root to the end. Well, from the root to where the, and then same thing, you're having this, and then in the front, mainly, if you were to look at somebody, balayage means that it is a replication of what the sun could possibly achieve. So you want to make sure that around the face is the brightest pieces. Behind it, you don't need to. So as you can see, it's a little bit chunkier in the front, and it's less chunkier in the back. And then I still do V, so I'm painting the highest point in the front, and I'm starting like midway, and then pointing at it at an angle going down, making sure that I saturate the ends really evenly and feathering up. So lightly feathering up, saturate the, start at an angle, so you're doing your high point in the face, lowest point in the back, because now the sun's not going to make this lighter than the front.
Dre, Dawn has a question for you. She says, do you ever bring the lightener above the back combing part?
Sometimes like if I'm back combing and if they really want it close to the root, I will flick it. You know how when you're doing like that flicking motion, and I do apply the back combing part. I do, yes. Yep. And then same thing. And then while I also, so I'll just tell you what I do after when my clients all process. So they're processing for about, after I apply, so that's 30 minutes from the first foil you did. And then I let them sit about 15, 20 minutes. So that's about 40, 50 minutes. Well, 30, 40, 50, 55 minutes, 50 to 55 minutes altogether. And that's more than enough time to lift your client to a level 9 or even possibly a 10. So you just want to make sure that you do watch out. And then, of course, I'm using my Alkamob foil. Every time I take it out, I never have to worry. Like, I could just, like, keep taking these out. Like, you know, they never, like, stick together, which I hate.
And they don't rip either. I know I'm pretty rough in the salon, and they do not rip on me no matter how rough I am. I love that.
I know. And then you could literally, the grip on them is insane. Like, it's just nice and thick foil. Like, same thing. And then they just stay like that. That's what I love. They just stay, honey. And then, okay, so after, yes, my client is done and she's shampooed. Well, we're going to go shampoo her. I like to use 𝒃𝒃. I like to use 𝒃𝒃 because it helps to get rid of any of the excess, like, lightener that could be on there. And it's also a great cleanser. The peppermint oil is great for circulation on the scalp, and we need that. Circulation is key to hair growth. So if you're having any troubles with hair growth, or even if you just have, like, you know, extra dead skin cells, like I know in the summer for a fact, like I use more styling products, or just like the heat, you know, you want to feel like nice and cleansing. My clients love it. They feel like it feels really having all of the, you know, foils on their head, and then, you know, whatever. So it's nice. So I use the 𝒃𝒃, and then I use the 𝒌𝒆. So I use the 𝒌𝒆 to pre-tone all the time. The 𝒌𝒆 is the purple shampoo, and it actually has grapeseed extract in it. And it's vegan, animal and cruelty free. So that I also really like. And it doesn't make the hair feel dry. I know a lot of times people will complain that their dry shampoo seems to dry out the hair. This one is not the, when I had my blonde hair, it was the only shampoo that actually felt like it didn't dry, like my ends weren't crispy, like it made my hair still feel soft.
Yeah, I agree. And it doesn't tend to overtone either, which is what I love.
No, perfect. It's the perfect amount of blue and purple. I love it. Oh, and then also the unicorn lightener. So I didn't even mention to you guys, but the unicorn lightener actually has ultramarine, which is a blue color pigment, and that is used to actually help to cancel out obviously warm tones, yellow and orange. Huge game changer. When you're at the bowl and there's one more thing, or actually even the blue that I recently did, or even pinks, the last thing you want in a blue, baby blue color is yellow, and the last thing you want in a pink color is yellow, because what is it going to happen? Orange or green. So when you have a that can cancel out the most amount of warmth. So you're almost left with a very, very pale, like the inside of a banana, pale yellow. That to me is everything.
Absolutely.
I love it. And even with pre-toning, like I use the bay, and while base sits, I go and mix up the toner. I come back out the toner. I dry them. I mean, I rinse out bay. I towel dry them, apply the toner, and then they kind of just. I even put a towel over their face, just sit at the sink and hang out. And I start from the back. So when I do tone, I always start from the back, and I do all around like before, almost like you're doing like a retouch, you know. Working it through, definitely through the back first, so that way they can just lay back and be comfortable. But also because underneath mainly is not going to get as light. Well, you would want to tone it a little bit darker, I guess. At least that's what I do. That's my thing. So everybody has their own toning thing, but I like to start in the back. I leave the money piece out, and then I leave the top two like quadrants out too, because this entire piece in the front you want to be light. And you'll see when I post this what exactly I'm talking about. And I will be toning with Redken Shades EQ. I haven't decided yet what shade, so maybe we can get some input in the comments or something.
Oh, what do you guys want to see? Anybody have any suggestions?
Like, what do we want to see? And I know a lot of girls are going now for not like honey color for sure, you know, the whole J-Lo, the teddy bear brown and blondes, and like I love those shades. I'm so kind of glad that, as much as I love the ashy tones, I'm glad that we're kind of gearing away from those.
Oh, girl, me too.
I think the warm tones are like perfect. And even with this, like when I do the unicorn lightener, it cancels out just enough of the warm tones that sometimes I don't even need to use a toner after I do bathe. Sometimes you have those that their hair is, I'm like, honey, it's gorgeous. Like, I don't even know if I want to tone you. Like, so I like that about it. And then, I tone, let that sit for about, you just eye it out 15, 20 minutes or so. I know for sure you want to at least let your Redken Shades EQ sit for 15 minutes. If not, they'll wash right out. But after, when I'm bringing them back to the tray, use the Extend conditioner, and that also helps to seal the cuticle, and it prevents against UV damage. So even with color, like you think not, but or maybe you do know, but color can fade in the sun, so you need to protect it. Even blondes can yellow in the sun. Just the tone overall, like, you know, you want to have that protection when you're styling, or even beforehand.
Absolutely. So Danielle says J-Lo, that girl. Dawn is saying that the AA series is really pretty, and Catherine says that beigey gold. She's loving the beigey golds, and they look super expensive.
Yes, they are. I love those champagne-y vibes, those champagne beige golds. Like, it just so happy. And it's so funny, a lot of girls, like, the whole thing now in California, we all love, and I'm sure everywhere, but especially here, you see a lot of the girls with the bright money pieces, and that sandy beige, and just like effortless, like it just looks so natural. And this is what this technique will do for you, I promise you. So I'm just going to go over it one more time.
Okay,
okay. So again, in the front, I start in the front, and then I finish up back to back 1-inch sections. And I am feathering up. So when I apply it to the mid strand, I feather up, and I almost even do like a V shape throughout them all. Because when it grows out, you don't want it to look like it's growing out all the same. So you want to add some ups and downs while you're feathering back on the balayage. And then
and are you teasing each section there on the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Every section. Every teasing is key. Teasing is so you don't have to do a root shadow. And sometimes some girls want the root shadow, but sometimes we don't have the time for the root shadow, or it's not necessary, as long as you tease enough. So then that way their own hair becomes the root shadow. So that's another thing. That's why within 2.5 hours, they can be in and out with perfect hair, cut, styled, curled, everything. And it's crazy to say, but it really does happen.
Great. So the teasing is saving you another step as far as the shadow root goes.
Yes, definitely. And then I was just gonna say, for the foiling, this is pretty much, yep. And then you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, about 3. So they're going into sections like this. So here's one section, and then the top is like a rectangle going about to the back of the occipital right here. So it's one rectangular section. And from the front, when you match up your client and you ask them, I always ask them like, okay, how do you part your hair? Where do you like to wear it? Do you wear it down the middle, off to the side, all over the place? Most of the time they say either down the middle or kind of all over the place. So when you do this look, you're covering the fact that everything in this rectangle will be the same. It will all be cohesive no matter which way they flip flop, as long as your weaves are, consistent. And then same thing with the money piece too, depending on like, when you do consult, you want to ask them like how much of a, do you want a dramatic money piece, a chunkier, like something, a little bit. So all in how you tease it will tone it down. So if you do a really heavy tease in the front, it will help so it doesn't bunch up here, and it has more of that like very seamless look, which is what we
Absolutely.
And yeah, so that's what I asked them during consultation, and that's how I section it out. And I already told you from the back we do all V sections, and then for the blow dry, like the prep, I use unicorn milk again. I love that stuff. And then I blow dry the hair with a round brush, and in the front I always like to blow dry coming forward, and I always blow dry out the front first to make sure that the clients like the tone before you start blow drying everything else. Last thing you want is them saying, I don't really like it, it's too bright, or you want them to look so cute in the mirror, like, when you like, who wants to sit there with hair in the front like that was years ago, but honey, I'm no longer that girl. Like, so we blow dry from the front, and then they like the tone, everything's good. Then I do the hard hairspray, very essential, so key. So I like hard because it's for all hair types. It's brushable, but it also has humectant, so it's like anti-humidity. So when you're out and about, it prevents the frizz. Also UV protectant, so it's great for when you're curling and styling your hair and you're gonna go out and go out to the winery or wherever you're gonna go. So you spray it all over. You lift up the hair and you kind of just get it in there. And I even sometimes my clients, it's the funniest thing. They're looking at me in the mirror and I'm like, just a little hairspray, no worries. And their hair is standing up like this, and I'm almost 100% certain that they're thinking this girl's gonna shellac my hair. So it was like just comb your hair, and then they comb through it, and it's like, it's crazy how it gives you the hold, but then you can brush through it like nothing. So that's explained to them, because I love this hairspray for that reason. And then they think it's amazing. But we do that, and then we curl with the GHD 1.5 inch curler. And the 1.5 inch curler you can really do like in any direction. In the front, I definitely like to pull forward, and I go back and I pull out the end straight. And then after all of the curls are all done, same thing in the front. If they're splitting their money piece, their hair down the middle, this is going back, this is going this way, twisting, pull on the ends. So many different ways to do the curls. But the real game changer for the curl game is this. So Michelle laughs at me because I use this instead of Flirt, which I really do love Flirt as well. But I love Fresh because it's like a secret weapon.
Girl, I gotta stop you right now, because I am so glad. I thought I was the only one in the mob who used Fresh over Flirt. I'm so happy to hear this. Tell us why.
I love it because when I do my girls, like most of the time, they're going to be wearing that style for like 2 or 3 days. Like, it will just last them. So I like it because it gives you like the bounce. So I literally have my clients turn their head, flip it, turn it back. And then I just like flip their hair and like just pull it up and spray it all into their hair and break through it. And I love it because you can break through the curls and they look so big and voluminous. Like I'm talking Victoria's Secret sexy hair, like no cap. But you can still run your hand, and it's just just so smooth and soft, and I love it. And then also when I do this, it prevents any like oil buildup or anything for my client within the next 2 or 3 days. So next thing you know, they're like, hey, I would have had to shampoo, and they're like, wait a minute, my hair still looks so good. And it's because it's an all-in-one. It breaks up nicely, and then it also helps in the future when you're wearing your hair like the next day or even later that day, to not get as oily. So this is why I love this stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is literally a weapon. When you see all of my curls and you're like, how does it look so like, this is it. This is it. So definitely my favorite.
You have a few questions that I will get to. So Catherine wants to know, are you tipping out the ends with bleach too often, or do you leave them out? How does that change your processing time?
Oh, you mean if the person wanted a little bit extra lightness on the ends kind of thing, if I apply a little bit? Yeah, so if you did want to do that, which does happen when the girls want the balayage ombre, it's literally such a process, but it's a fun process. So you would take all of the hair. So when you're done with that section in the back, I just take these hairs and then I tease this. You definitely want to tease it all up like this. And then, yes, you would definitely apply the lightener like that. Well, if I do it to this side, now I'm going to have to do it to the other side. We could do, but you know what, for this one, I want to leave the dimension. But yeah, what you would do is you would definitely just tease it up. And then you would make sure that you have like a thick enough tease where, you know, you could see it's like a good chunk. And then this is almost like see-through. And then you would do the same thing in the same motion. So you don't want to make it, the lightener go all the way up here, like in a horizontal like fashion. You would want to make it go in a vertical way like this. So then again, it's going to create that grow out where you're not going to see any harsh lines. So yeah, if you did want to tip out the ends like that, for sure, just make sure you're doing it in a horizontal, vertical direction when you're applying the lightener, flicking up, and then you're kind of just, you know, C motioning it like bing, bing, bing.
Fantastic. Sharon's also asking, do you spray unicorn milk before and after the hair process?
Yes, before for sure, just to even out all of the hair porosity and to give it a little extra protection with the CBD. And I just like it because, yeah, and then after too for the style for sure. I always blow dry all of my, like after any blow dry, I use the unicorn milk or I'll use the foreplay. Sometimes my clients, they really like the smell of the foreplay because it has that like coconutty, like beachy smell. Being here in Costa Mesa, like we're like 10 minutes away from Newport Beach, so everybody likes that beachy smell.
I'm in New York and I love that beachy smell. So
who doesn't love coconuts?
Agreed. Just giving you a heads up, we're at our 30-minute mark as we're rocking and rolling here.
Yeah, so trying to think, you know, obviously working here in the salon, like it's been, I mean, Michelle alone, she's been a huge, I know I mentioned her a lot, but she's the one who built all of this. So I can't thank her enough, even for welcoming me into this and allowing me to do this and giving me this opportunity today with this balayage. And I'm just really excited for all the things like that Alkali Beauty has in the future in store. And I'm like so excited for everybody it's just amazing. But being here for sure, like being part of the Alkamob alone, it's like nothing else. Like if you are going to be with the Alkamob or even with Alkali Beauty, like your family, you know, you're literally family. We're always checking in on you. I mean, I remember, you know, things happen and everybody pulls together like literally family. And I know we're having this symposium in September, so I'm so excited about it.
Excited to come there and finally meet you. And guys, if you want to join in on the mob and be a part of the Alkali family, auditions opened today. They'll be running through April 15th, and you can audition as many times as you want. Make sure that you read all the directions and hashtag correctly, or your entry will not be counted. So please be aware of that. And also for you that are already mobsters, Alchemist of the Year is going on as well. That is running until July 15th. And again, you can audition as many times as you want. We love seeing everybody's work in your entries. And the winner of Alchemist of the Year will be announced in California at Symposium on September 12th and 13th.
And you guys can stay with me.
Yay! I'm so excited.
So yeah, actually even on this thing, like I know, well, I'll be posting pictures on this look because I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see like everything. So if you do have questions on sectioning, I took pictures of how I section. So when I post the end result, you'll see literally a before and after of her. She started off with like a level 6, and then you'll see the before like of the sectioning of how I section. And then obviously like right now I will take some pictures before I shampoo her just so you guys can see. Cause I know like, you know how it is when you do the foils, like everything's a little bit like kind of crazy. So her hair is all like wild, but I'll take pictures and make sure that you guys have a good idea of where and how her hair is sectioned. And I forgot to mention, I'm holding onto this comb, but I do like to use a rat tail comb, like with a long enough, tail. And then in between here, the teeth are pretty close together. There are a couple different ones, and depending on the hair texture, you might find that some of them give a better back comb. This one I think is really nice because I also like the handle, and I like the way it just holds.
They're asking about your comb. Actually, where did you get it? What brand is that?
Yeah, I wish I knew the brand. I think I'm almost, it doesn't even say it on here. It's almost, I know for sure, I think I got it from 𝒘𝒊𝒕𝒉. You can look online, and I think they do sell them, and I almost bought it. It was like $25 and then plus the $7 shipping. And I'm so glad I waited because I did see them. Was it at Cosmo or at Salon Centric?
Someone's saying it looks like the pink pewter comb.
That's what, pewter, yes.
Good job, Alicia. You caught that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that it has that little opening too in the teeth there.
Yeah. Yep. I really do like this comb a lot. So this is every day. This is my comb that it's my go-to. And let's see. I'm trying to think if I remember anything else. I talked about the unicorn, the consistency of the lightener.
So how often do you think they're coming back for retouches on something like this? Can they get a while out of it?
Oh, yes, for sure. So 6 months to a year. And honestly, because of the way the hair it grows out, like you will see obviously a difference between when their root is all the way to like reaching their ear, like you see that, like, but that's about like a year growth. But either way, like I posted a picture, and I will also post that as well to show you what it does look like a year later when it's grown out. It's actually still really, really pretty. So 6 months to a year, 6 months for sure, enough time that where their money piece is probably going to fall to about here now. And then about a year will be here. So they can go as long as they want, but I would recommend no more than 6 months if you can. And I'll give you like a little price breakdown too for something like this in California. And I'm sure these prices are actually very similar to the East Coast side as well. For a full-on balayage, you're looking at it starting at $220, and that's not including toner. So the toner is additional $45. So the 220 plus the 45 brings you to 265. And then obviously if you're cutting or styling, you want to charge extra for that. And when you break it down to the appointment only taking 2.5 hours, you're pretty much making $1 an hour. So that's pretty good to me. I'm like, yeah. I'll take that. So then obviously, you're going to have other things like depending on the hair texture and the length and everything. So feel free to charge what you need to charge. That's just my starting price over here. And for a lot of the stylists here in the salon. That kind of gives you an idea if you're starting out, or if you're thinking like, well, gee, how much would she charge for something like that? It only takes half an hour to apply, half an hour to process extra after applying. And then the toning about 15-20 minutes, and then the cut and the style. So yeah, like they're really out of here pretty quick. So it's nice, and it's a good flow. It's not too stressful because the teasing saves you. It really does. It saves you from bleeding. It saves you from having to do a root shadow, having to worry about any type of weird colors. between the, how dark the person's hair is to how light you're trying to get it. There's always going to be a little bit of a jump. So you have to make sure that when you do those sections, take small sections and tease a whole hell of a lot. So then that way it doesn't do that. But yeah, so that's like the pricing and stuff too.
Just do you find it easier to price out like hourly versus charging a set fee for a balayage, or how do you think it is easiest to go about?
Definitely a set fee for sure. And then if the 220 only comes with one bowl of lightener. So I forgot to mention that too. So that any extra additional lightener that you will need to use for me, I charge $20 extra every time I have to go mix up in another bowl. It's just unfair for a client to have to pay $220 and they only use one bowl, and then another client to, she has double the hair but the same length, to pay $220 but you use 3 bowls on her. And then everyone goes for a different look. So if they want it brighter, then you're using more lightener, you're lightening more hair, you're maybe even reapplying the lightener, doing like a balayage at the bowl. So there's different things, but for sure the starting rate would be $220. And I like to do it like a la carte, I guess you could say. But when I do break down the prices and then I break down the time, it always, I don't know how, but it always comes out to like $1 an hour, or maybe like, about $1 an hour, maybe even more. But yeah, about that. So sometimes with color corrections, I'll do like yesterday, actually, we had a girl, I haven't posted it yet, but it's a good one. I had a girl come in and it was a color correction. And of course she wanted to go super, super light. And I said, okay. So we did it. And I told her, I broke down the prices to her of like all the products that I knew I was going to have to use on her. And then I broke down the pricing, and it was about $85 to $100 an hour. And I was with her for 4.5 hours. So she's paid $450. So either way, it ends up breaking down to about that amount per hour. I don't know if that other people see that too when they do their pricings. But for me, that happens a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, so when I post the picture, I'll even do some videos after, like on my my Instagram, and then I'll show you how I curl and the techniques of pulling, and then even like the aftermath of when I apply the fresh, the before and after, just so you can see how it looks before and then how like voluminous and sexy it looks after. Like, I'm telling you, that stuff is like such a game changer. Especially for the summertime. You want your hair always smelling nice and looking fresh and fresh. Huh?
It's one of my most favorite products for sure.
What
do you like to send home with your blondes? What do you recommend them using to upkeep at home afterwards?
Definitely 100%. I love Penetrate. I even give them the Penetrate conditioning, the moisturizing treatment while they're here. And even though I do use the Extend conditioner, which has the keratin in there, which really helps to strengthen the hair and just like smoothing and adding the shine, the Penetrate is amazing. But you at least let it sit for like 4 minutes, at least 4 or 5 minutes. Literally, like, I know some people are like, oh, if you're in a rush, don't do it. Let me just say that, because it will work, but not the way it will work if you really let it sit for at least 5 minutes. I'm telling you, like, my clients feel their hair, and I'm not even kidding. They always look at me and they're like, how is it that my hair feels better now than it did when I came in and we did more today? And I'm like, girl, it's the products.
Absolutely.
So that's like they literally tell me that. Like, the girls here at the salon will tell you the same thing. And it's so nice to hear that, because the last thing you want is your client feeling like their hair doesn't feel the same as when of course it's not going to look the same, but if it doesn't feel the same, it just doesn't feel right. So that I don't like, but that's one of the products that I do recommend them to go home with, along with Bay. But I tell them not to use Bay until about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how often they shampoo their hair after. So that way it can help to neutralize any warm tones that might come out, or, sometimes they might want to see it to look a little cooler, so then they can leave it on for a few extra minutes. And definitely 100% unicorn milk. 100%. People, as soon as I spray it in their hair and I use it as the blow dry, they already want it. So they just buy it and walk out with it. So that I don't even have to push that on them. But I definitely tell them, like, if you want purple shampoo, because let me tell you about purple shampoo from drugstores, okay, honey?
Oh,
it
man.
will turn your hair green. I am not even green, foam, sea foam. Michelle will tell you, it was like American Horror Story for hair here. When my client and I asked her, I said, and I've had her before, so I knew something was going on, but I was just like, what did you use for your hair? And she goes, yeah, so I ran out, and then it was just a quick last minute thing, and I just went to CVS. And I go, honey, what did you buy? And I won't say the name, but it was not good. So don't buy anything from CVS. Please don't, because she didn't even know. And the tricky thing is that her hair literally looks silver blonde until we did the bleach retouch. And then the bleach hit her silver blonde. It turned to green like that. I just couldn't believe it. And let me tell you what we did. So we neutralized it with Shades EQ 9VRO, the rose. If you ever have any green issues, that right there will cancel it all. Silver.
That formula is a lifesaver.
Yes, she left with silver hair. So for sure, that's favorite products to use, the unicorn milk. And then obviously, if they do like to style their hair, they really do love the hard hairspray, because once I show them how it does still look brushable, they love it, because they think that hairsprays are supposed to be like shellacky, and they're not supposed to be like that. Like, you need a hairspray to hold your curls and then also to prevent the frizz. But people kind of get scared about hairsprays because they think that it's going to be like sticky and like, like whatever, that whole thing, and they won't be able to brush it. And that's not the case at all, like at all with hard. And same thing with fresh. I always tell them, like, if you're not using a dry shampoo, or if you're interested in one, they already fall in love with it. Like, you sell your products by showing your clients what they do. So I just use the products, and then I show them, and then they just get them, and then they go home and they're like, this is perfect, So it always works out, and it's good when your products actually show what they can do. It's not just like the hype. They really do an amazing job, and everybody loves them. The smells are amazing. Each one of them has a different smell. I get a lot of compliments on the fresh because it smells so good. The unicorn milk, even bay smells really nice. Yeah, so that's that.
Fantastic. Well, Dre, we're wrapping it up. I just want to kind of remind you guys one more time that we do have a sale going on until the 31st. If you use the code ALKALIVE on your Alkali Beauty order over $50 or more, you're getting 55% off. So make sure you use that code. Again, reminding as well that mob auditions have opened today, and they're running through April 15th. We really hope that you guys join us. We are always looking for new family members. We truly do believe that together we all rise, and that's what we're all here for. Dre, thank you so much for showing us all your tips and tricks. And she's going to be sharing on her page as well, again, the placement, and we'll have after photos and everything. And if you guys have any questions, you can reach out either to us or to Dre herself. We're all here for you.
Yes, so definitely tune for the whole after thing, and Shark Fin Willie is coming up, and I can't wait. So I hope whoever's going to win those shears, I hope it's not me. I mean, I won't be mad at
No more winning for you, Dre. Yes, please stay tuned. We've got Willie coming up next.
Yes.
Yay. All right, Dre, thank you so much. Guys, thank you for attending, and we'll see you at Willie's class next.
Bye.
Bye.